am recording. Okay.
Oh, hi.
Hey, everybody.
Hello.
So,
Hello.
I thought we could travel back in time here.
Oh my
Wow.
John, yes.
John, are we going to see things on this thing?
Woo!
Stand out and fit in at the same time. The 25th Annual Putnam County Spelling Bee.
Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Incredibly funny and usually clever.
Excited?
Lugubrious.
Playhouse on Park from June 11th to July 20th.
Phylactery.
Yay. All right. 2014.
Oh my God. That's amazing.
And we won
Welcome,
an award.
everybody. Welcome to another episode of Where Are They Now? I can't wait to find out where you are all now. I am quarantined in my home in Vernon, Connecticut. I know Sean's in New York, and we're so happy to have you all here. The Playhouse was so lucky to have you on our stage, and now to have you on our little screen. This is so exciting. So thank you for agreeing to do this and to put a little sunshine into anybody's life who decides to tune in and watch this later on. So thank you all. Mwah.
Several years ago, Stephen and I were talking, and I mentioned the show, and he was talking about, he was like, it was such a special experience. And I still remember that now. And when Natalie was like the other day, she was like, can we get Spelling Bee back together? I was like, ooh, this is great. And so we're thrilled that you can be with us, and we can see your faces again. And it's true that this show brought so much joy to so many people for so long. I mean, it ran, it was like our first show that got extended, all of that, you know? So, awesome. All right, Darlene, you're up.
All right. Well, of course, because it's Where Are We Now? Let's find out where you all are. So we'll go around the horn and we'll say your name, who you played in the show, if you can remember, and where you are quarantining yourself right now. So I'm going to start with you, Kevin.
Sure. So, hey, everybody. I played Leaf Coneybear, and I'm currently quarantined here in Hartford, Connecticut.
Woohoo! Steven.
Hey, I'm Steven. I played William Morris Barfee, and I am also quarantined in West Hartford, Connecticut.
Oh, cool. You home with the family?
I'm home with the fam. I escaped the city right at the beginning.
Oh, smart. Susan.
Hey, hi, everybody. Oh, I'm just so emotional. I was the director and the choreographer, and I'm just so overwhelmed right now. But I'm in Vermont. I'm quarantining in Vermont. It's today or tomorrow marks 2 months that I have not left my town, let alone, my city. So that's really kind of beautiful and okay, but a little irritating. So I hope to visit you all soon.
Yes. Natalie.
Hey guys. I played Ostrovsky. And we're quarantining on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. So this has been week 10 of so I'm just slightly stir crazy, but hanging in.
Cool.
It's a curse. It's happening to everybody. But you all look so beautiful, so it's not doing you any harm in that case. So as long as you look good, right, Kevin?
That's right. And you can do anything if you wear the right outfit, Mama dear.
Absolutely. Bobby, right while you're taking a chug there, you're on.
Hey, I'm Bobby. I was the music director. I am also in Hartford now. Haven't left, so yeah.
You're here and you're safe. That's what we like to hear. Emily.
Hi, everyone. I played Rona Lisa? Is that
Yes.
Is that her name?
Yes.
Rona Lisa Peretti, right?
Yeah.
I'm in Brooklyn, New York. And I just wanted to say that I was telling my partner today that I had some of my most laughs of my entire life doing the show. And it's so fun to think about just truly all of the laughs that were had. So thank you for organizing this.
Just knowing some of these cast members, I cannot even imagine the shenanigans that went on. So maybe we can hear about one or two of them a little later. Joel, let's go to you.
Hi, everybody. It's so good to see all you beautiful people. I am in Queens, and I've been here the whole time. And it's been, I have my quarantine beard, which, look at all the gray. But anyway, so yeah, I've been here through the whole quarantine. I did get sick with the virus, and I had it for about 6 weeks, and that was rough. But I'm through that, and I feel healthy and good. And I got a bicycle, so I've been riding my bike to get out and have my little exercise and get some fresh air. So that's been really nice.
Oh, we're so happy that you're healthy. And thank you for sharing that.
I even did one of your classes one day. I stood up in my room and danced.
Yes, I'm honored. You're going to go on our Better When I'm Dancing Wall of Fame. Thank you. Hey, Maya.
Hi, guys. I played Marcy Park, and I'm coming to you all the way from Wellington, New Zealand, which is where I live now. So I'm coming to you from Wellington / tomorrow because it's my Thursday.
Oh my gosh.
So the future is beautiful, guys. It's a beautiful sunny day. So Thursdays.
Right at the end of the tunnel, is that what you're telling us? There is tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there is a tomorrow, and it's looking pretty good.
My nephew just moved to New Zealand with his family, and I'm afraid I'm never going to see them again. So maybe I will now make an effort and get there. It's terrifyingly long, far away, but I guess it's worth the trip.
And it suddenly became even further once all this happened.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, I'm glad you're well. Thank you.
Yeah.
Scott.
I'm Scott Scaffidi, and I played Chip Tolentino and Jesus. And I am, thank you. And I'm quarantined up in Syracuse, New York.
And you're doing well? Yes?
I am, yes, very well.
I'm glad to hear that. Hillary!
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Hillary.
Like Susan, I'm close to tears and my heart just bursting, which is nothing short of normal for me. I am quarantining in West Hartford, Connecticut, and I played Logainne Schwartzandgrubenniere.
Yay. And last but not least, Norman.
Hi, everyone. My name's Norman Payne, and I am quarantining. I've been in my childhood home with my mom and my brothers in southern New Jersey, in Moorestown, New Jersey, by Philadelphia, for about a month and a half now. And I played the comfort counselor, as well as Kevin's husband.
We need you desperately. So I don't know if you've got any juice boxes you can toss up to us, but we need them. We need comfort now.
Wait, you also played Olive's dad.
Father, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yes, indeed. Yes. Yeah.
Get that duet, dear.
Yes, dear. We had a duet. A cheap duet. Yes.
If you want to recreate that, I would not be upset about it. So beautiful. Well, thank you all so much. I'm so glad you are able to make it here onto this beautiful screen. I'm so glad that you are all healthy in your quarantine spots. And I think Sean might have a few questions to ask here and there. Maybe ask you to spell something. I'm not sure.
You know, the first thing is we want to know like what everybody's been up to. I mean, it's now, we've done this. This is our, we also are doing this with playwrights, but this is our third cast. And we did the cast of Passing Strange, and then we did the cast of Pinkalicious. And this show is actually, I guess, the first one of those three, right? So it's been several years since we've seen a lot of you. Natalie and Susan, I've seen you very recently. Hillary, I've seen you very recently. Some of you we haven't seen since this production. And so the show was such a success on so many levels. I mean, and we were talking about how you know, so I want to say everybody or most of you came up to the Connecticut Critic Circle when we won it, and it was just amazing. We won our first award that we've ever won with them was for Best Ensemble Cast, and that was for you all. And it truly, and I've said this, yeah, let's do a congratulations. We've said
Picture of all of us there in like a circle.
Yeah, we're doing the syzygy.
Yeah.
So good.
I've said to many people about Susan HAEFNER and how I think that she's the best director of like ensemble cats that I know, and has a gift of really bringing a company together to value each other and let everybody like hold each other up, pass the ball around, and I could think of no other better helmer of this piece than you. And like, I just think, I'm just so glad that you were leading this group and that they all, like, you went out to eat all the time. You went, like, I remember so many things of the show, and I think it ran a long time, but I remember I went out to sushi with you guys and we had a conversation about Heathers and you know, and I mean, it was just a really, it was very special, as I was saying about what Stephen was saying. It was special for us, the theater, and special, I think, for you guys. So I think starting it off is like, so what have you been up to? Sometimes that involves gigs, sometimes it involves life changes and things that have happened in your life recently that you would love to share with us, and to people that honored your work so several years ago and now can see you again in this crazy time. So Kevin, let's start with you. Let's go the same order if that's okay.
Sure thing, yeah. So after my stint in Spelling Bee, where I forgot, I also played the lost disciple of Jesus Christ, for which Stephen Michael Mooney gave me a Tony Award for that performance. I think Playhouse audiences got to see a lot of me in Hair the summer after that. And then I've been a regular in the summer for the musical theater camps, working at Playhouse. I think most recently at Playhouse, I had the pleasure of working with Susan and Bobby on Tenderly in January, which was such a heart-happy experience for me. Let's think. I think probably right around when I was in Spelling Bee is when I started my gig working at Bay Path University, where I'm a professor and the director of performing arts there. Still there. This is the end of my 6th year, and I was able to snatch the one and only Bobby TOMASULO to come on board as our director of musical activities. And this relationship would not have happened had it not been for Spelling Bee.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Life-changing happenings at Playhouse on Park.
Is true.
Yeah, absolutely. Stephen.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I since Spelling Bee, Em and Susan and I all got to work on Little Shop together at Playhouse, and I've had a lot of fun times with other alumni at Playhouse. Amanda Bruton, who was in Company, probably in the 2nd season.
Yeah, I think it was the second season. Yeah.
Second season. We co-wrote a short film that went to an HBO Film Festival and HBO Women in Comedy Festival, which was featured in that. And it toured comedy festivals around the country, and we won some awards for that. It was really cool. And then I general manage a space, performance space in New York called Subculture on the corner of Bleecker and Lafayette. So when I'm not out on a gig, I get to hang out there and see some really cool performances and some really cool people that go there, which is really special.
Awesome.
I think probably a lot of you have been there. I don't know if
and your fundraiser did pretty well the other night, right?
Yeah, we did a big fundraiser with Ariana Grande, which is really cool, and we raised a good chunk of money for the staff. It was really cool. Drop that.
Awesome. M.
Me?
Oh, is it Susan? Oh, Susan. Sorry, it's Susan.
Oh, cool. I've been taking a lot of walks. This just, I'll start like from present and move backwards maybe. But I've lately been watching the birds. I'm planting seeds that are germinating. Everything but my spinach has come up. Slowing down, thinking about, future projects. I mean, a little sidebar, creating this family of Spelling Bee. I remember the first rehearsal, I was so petrified. So I just told you all that I was scared. And we all just like went, boom, like it was just like complete bonding. It was amazing. Not bondage, bonding. But yeah, I've been, I worked with Playhouse a few times after Spelling Bee, including working with Emily and doing and Stephen in Little Shop. Remember, I forgot that we did Little Shop, Emily. I worked with Emily up at Northern Stage, and she said, I have a scarf, right, from Little Shop, and you wanted to show me the scarf. Yeah. And I was like, I blocked it out. I don't know, that was such an intense experience. Yeah. But I've been directing and acting, and I was in Tenderly in January. And a little on a sober note, Sam Lloyd, who was in Tenderly with me, he passed away. So this was a really special, I didn't know how sick he was at the time, but it was really great that everyone at the Playhouse, Darlene and Sean and Kyle, the director, it's a real family there. And I was just so happy that you trusted, because I had brought the idea to cast Sam to all of you. And I was just so grateful that you took that and said, let's do it. And I know for a fact that that was the greatest gift of his life. And he told me every night. So that was really awesome. And then since then, with everything shutting down, again, I've been walking and planting seeds and thinking about what I want to be ready. I want to be ready to hit the ground running when we are back. So I write in my journal, and do all that stuff. And then my boyfriend's here. And he's like, a drummer. Oh, that's so right. He's, so we're having really a lot of brag, yeah. We're doing a lot of projects together, just creative projects. So it's been really special. That's my news.
Oh, yay.
Yay. Natalie?
Sure. So first of all, Spelling Bee was my first professional gig after moving to New York. So that was extra special for me. And I just remember feeling so safe and like everybody just had me, and that made it extra special for me. But since then, I came back to Playhouse on Park to do Peter and the Starcatcher. I played Molly Astor. And then I got to see some of your lovely faces at the 10th anniversary shindig, just last summer.
Yeah.
And then since then, I've had a bit of a career shift. I'm a technical project manager for a casino gaming company in the World Trade Center. So yeah, that's what I've been doing for the past couple years, and I just feel really lucky that I'm able to work from home right now. But there's always that kind of emotional pull. I'm still trying to make sure that I'm able to still do theater and stay creative and all of that.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bobby?
Spelling Bee was my first show at Playhouse. I think it was also my first professional music directing gig, which was exciting, and it was wonderful to kind of be taken under Susan's embrace and her wing to kind of lead that one with her. But yeah, after Spelling Bee, I did I think 3 more shows at Playhouse. I did Altar Boys, we did Avenue Q, and then as Sue said just recently, Tenderly. But other than that, I am the resident music director at the Woodstock Playhouse. Unfortunately, not this summer because, well, there's no shows. But in general, I'm usually up there over the summers. And then, as Kevin said, I've been working at Baypath for like the past 5 years now with him, and kind of built a pretty awesome program up there that is just continuing to bloom and burgeon, which is really, really exciting, and even more exciting going into this fall semester, which we don't really know what will bring, but like we'll have an answer. So it's going to be cool. So yeah.
Fantastic. Well, we're all in that together, so we know how you feel.
Yeah.
Emily.
Let's see. Yeah, I did, since Spelling Bee, I did Little Shop. I've also gotten to see Susan, and I think we did 2 shows together. We did Mary Poppins, we did what the hell is it called? Noises Off. And since then, lots of things. I guess most recently I've been doing a lot of like film and TV writing and producing, and something I wrote, a TV pilot I wrote, was in the Tribeca Film Festival this year, and the festival was obviously canceled, but there were some incredible virtual initiatives that they created, and I have met with like 12 different like studios and networks, and I'm still doing that, and it's kind of like one of the coolest things that's ever happened to me, which is really weird because it's in this insane experience of being quarantined and isolated, but still, you know, really exciting and strange and nerve-wracking. Yeah, I would say that yeah, but you know, trying to juggle all the things that I really love, which is like performing and writing and creating new content. And I think I love being on stage, and I think I will continue to do that, but I'm definitely gravitating more career-wise in the vein of creating film and digital media / like television content. So who knew?
Who knew?
Yeah.
Well, we all know now.
Yeah.
And I've only had the pleasure of seeing you once, unfortunately, in Em and the Fates. But if you all have not seen Emily on stage rocking out, it is a sight to see. It is just amazing, and I hope that's still going. And I'm sure you're on a little hiatus now, but I'm sure you're gonna pick it up when we get back, right?
Yeah, hope to, for sure. Thank you for saying that.
Oh my God, it's amazing. Who's next? Joel?
Hi. I guess for the people who aren't in the cast that might be watching, I forgot to say that I played Principal Panch earlier. So I knew Susan HAEFNER from doing Billy Elliot. And when we finished the show, you know, actors go through their ups and downs, and I was definitely in a downtime. And then the phone call came, and she's like, would you want to do this? And I was like, yes, I definitely do. And I wanted to get that role on my resume, and I wanted to work with Susan. And then she brought all of you into my life, and it was the most incredible, fun time ever. That 2 months, you know, it was incredible. So I loved every bit of it. So we should do a revival, I think, when everything's up and running again. Let's do it. But anyway, since then, you know, I've gone through more ups and more downs. So the next year, I did a couple of more Billy Elliots at regional theaters around like North Shore and in North Carolina. And then an old show I had done, Cagney, came kind of back into my life. And off Broadway, we ran Cagney for about a year and a half. But then I got Something Rotten, the tour of the show Something Rotten. So I left Cagney to do that. And I played Lord Clapham in Something Rotten, and I had beautiful purple tights. It was awesome. Sight to be seen. And with a red beard and a red mustache and this huge hat. It was ridiculous. And so then I did that for like a year and a half, and then I came home, and then I luckily got cast as a reporter in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. So I had a couple months downtime, and I went back out on the road. And I did unfortunately have to play an Oompa Loompa, which was not the most fun, but I'll have to tell you that privately. And but anyway, it was great to be working and great to be touring. I like to tour and going back to all these cities that I love and seeing local crew members that are there, and you know, it's just a fun time. So then they closed our show early, unfortunately. So the rug kind of got pulled out from under us, and we should still be running. And but we closed in October. So I came back to New York, and I was just kind of tired and needed a little break. So I just kind of, you know, just did nothing. And then now this hits. So now I'm really doing nothing. So, you know, I don't know how long my boredom is going to like drive me crazy, but I'm going to try to find some projects so that, like Susan said, when it's starting to open back up, I can hit the ground running. So maybe new audition material. I don't know, but it's that kind of thing. But I did get sick, but I'm fine now, and I feel really healthy, and I'm on a new diet, and I have a new bicycle, so life is good.
I don't know how that diet fits in with those cookies I saw you bake one night.
You be quiet.
Oh, okay.
And Joel, you said you were sick for 6 weeks?
Yeah, it was, the first 3 were, the first week kind of was the build-up. Week 2 was pretty horrible. Week 3, I kind of went down, and then like 4 and 5 was just this, I feel better, no I don't. I feel better, no I don't. It was just this kind of weird thing, and then it finally petered out. And then I suddenly, one day I went, I'm back to normal. It was weird. It just was a long, it lasted and lingered forever.
Wow.
Anyway, my heart goes out to anybody who has been through it. But anyway, and hopefully the antibodies make me immune. I don't know yet, but I hope.
I'm sorry to interrupt. My computer, the charger is not working, so I'm gonna leave and come back on my phone. So just
okay. Okay, I'll let you back in.
Cool, thanks.
Sure. Maya.
Yeah, so what's happened since is I spent another few years doing the sort of nomadic actor life, which included doing 4,000 miles with Susan. She brought me up to New Hampshire, and we did this beautiful show. I love that place so, so much, and that was such a special experience to get to work with Susan again and on that piece.
You were amazing.
Oh, I love that show so much. That was a delicious little project. And then for a while, I lived in Hillary's apartment because I think she was at Playhouse. Yeah, she went to Playhouse to do a little, was it like a little directing stint or something, Hill?
Yep.
Yeah. So I lived in her apartment. And that was amazing because I got to be just all up in Hillary EKWALL vibes, and that was beautiful. And so I feel like I've lived with her, even though I didn't. And then not long after that, I moved to New Zealand with my husband. Pretty much was feeling like, oh, it's time for a career shift. I don't know what it is, but if I'm going to change with the career, like I've wanted to be an actor since I was 4 years old, so I've never thought about doing anything else. But if I'm going to change up my career, might as well change up everything. So then we just kind of moved to New Zealand without a plan. We worked on some farms for a while. We like picked blueberries and hazelnuts, and that was very lovely. And then ended up in Wellington, which is their capital city and their sort of arts capital, and a funky little town. And then somehow I ended up, I am now a senior advisor at the Ministry of Education. So I work in the government for New Zealand, and I work as an advocate for the Indigenous people here, which are called, they're the Maori people. And so I'm an education advocate for the Indigenous people here.
Cool.
That's wild.
I don't.
Wow.
Yeah.
Scott.
Yeah, so I guess a little backstory there. I had worked at Playhouse a couple of times before Spelling Bee, and then and I knew Susan from years previously at Jiva Theater, where we were doing Christmas Carol together, and she was actually my Secret Santa. And yes, so, but we hadn't worked together in maybe eight years or something like that. And then I got a call from Sean saying, this woman, Susan, is directing Spelling Bee, and she's interested in having you come in to play Chip. And like Joel, I was kind of in a little bit of a rut, and the call came at the perfect time. So I was delighted and came up, and we had such a great time doing the show. And then during Spelling Bee, I actually met someone in West Hartford named Jason, who I'm still with, and I'm in his house right now in Syracuse. So there's my little connection there too. But since Spelling Bee, I reconnected with another old friend from Jiva Theater, a music director named Don Cott, and he brought me on to direct Into the Woods at Sumi Geneseo. And that has become a recurring gig for me now for 5 years straight. So I've been directing the main stage musical every year. So we did Into the Woods, and then Gypsy, and then It Should Have Been You. I did a page-to-stage version of She Loves Me. Last year I did Pippin, which was really fun. And then through contacts from Jason as a professor at Lemoyne College here in Syracuse. So I made some friends there, and then they brought me on last year to direct 9 to 5, which I also choreographed, which is the first time I had directed and choreographed my own show, and it was challenging yet really fun. So like Susan was saying, kind of prepping for more things in the future, I've just continued to build those sort of book those gigs moving forward. If they happen, they happen. So hopefully. But so next year at Geneseo, I'm directing and choreographing a sideshow. And then I'll be directing at Geneseo again. What are we doing? Oh, we're doing 9 to 5. So that'll be the first time I'm directing the same show twice, which I'm kind of excited to dive into that. But at the same time, I'm also going to be choreographing Something Rotten at Lemoyne. So that'll be interesting. But I'm excited. And then also in between those sort of theater jobs down in the city, I started my own beverage consulting company called Behind the Wood NYC, and I was helping restaurants create beverage programs. So, cheers to everyone. I knew there was drinks hiding in there somewhere, guys.
Oh my God!
And
I'm remembering slap the herbs. You taught us that.
oh yeah, you gotta express your
I'll
herbs.
still
guys.
do that.
Oh, good. I charge for that information now.
You changed my life, and I got it for free.
I would never charge any of you. But and I've done a lot of traveling. Jason and I went to Amsterdam, and we did a trip to Spain last year for 10 days, and we did African safari in South Africa. So running around, having a good time. And I did run into Susan down in Florida in one of my travels. We were down there for a conference, and Susan just happened to be doing Tenderly at a theater. So we bought tickets and went and saw it, and it was really great. I wanted to come see it at Playhouse, so it just didn't work out. But yeah, so that's what I've been up to.
Awesome. Norman. No, Hillary. Sorry. I'm looking at Hillary and then Norman.
I'm so happy to be here. I have been fairly busy with theater and coaching gymnastics and battling injuries in the past 5 years. That's sort of been my road here. Thankfully, I've had a lot of opportunities at Playhouse on Park, my family there, directing and choreographing, directing for the first time, Curious George, while Maya stayed in my room, which was really fun. But yes, Susan, it was terrifying to go in there. I was like, ah! But it was a lot of fun. And then I've been doing the show Cabaret. Sort of, I had this run of doing cabaret in many different places, including the tour, and played cello and violin on the tour, which was really fun. Learned so much from all of those amazing actors on that tour. But left the tour, had hip surgery, got back in the swing of things, did a couple more productions, and then did Nonsense recently at Playhouse with Darlene, which was just so much fun. Again, Darlene, we had a blast.
We sure did.
And then after that, I had to have a bone removed from my ankle, which is sort of an injury that we thought was a lesser injury than it actually was, that I'd been battling for 3 years. So we finally said, okay, time to have the bone taken out. And I have been doing that rehab, and it's sort of continued into this time now. And so I'm trying to use this time as reset and take good habits, get rid of bad habits, vocally, physically. I'm taking lessons with a teacher that I took with a long time ago. And I said to him the first day, pretend like I know nothing about singing. Let's get rid of everything and start fresh and see what can come. So I've been working on that. And I walk daily to get exercise. And I've been working on journaling and meditating and trying to sort of live in nature a little bit while I have the time. And my parents' garden in West Hartford is beautiful.
Great. Thank you. Norman?
Yeah, so, well, since we're sharing Susan stories first.
I love it.
At the Weston Playhouse when I was in the young company, and I did Stuart Little with her, and I was Stuart's big brother, and I just had such a great time in Vermont and getting to know Susan, and sharing that summer with you was so exciting. And yeah, you're just a really special person, and like was said earlier, you're so good at bringing a group together. And I mean, that group of us that were there that summer, it was really magical, and you did the exact same thing with this cast. And the cover counselor has been a dream role of mine forever. I was always singing cover counselor music in college, and finally to be able to do this show and play this role, so exciting to me. So that's my Susan story and Spelling Bee. For me, so latest to later, I played the genie in Aladdin in Ireland, in Dublin this last winter, which was really fun. And I was a part of their pantomime season, which as an American is so different. It was a really cool experience for me. So that was really neat. And then before that, I've been living in Europe the last 4 years. I've been working for a German cruise line company, and singing in German. I can kind of speak German now, which is really random. I was in Asia and Europe and Eastern Europe and like the Caribbean, and I've just seen so many really cool places with this company. I love working for them. I love my colleagues. I really love Germany. And I am hoping this goes through because of Corona, but I've just booked the James Bond tour that's going to be touring throughout Germany. It's going to be a German national tour. So yeah, I've been very German the last 4 years. A little Irish this last winter, but after Spelling Bee, yeah, after that, I went back to auditioning, and then I ended up in Europe, and I've been there ever since. And I actually was rehearsing in Hamburg, and then Corona came, and they're like, "We have to send you home. We'll call you when like it's okay." So yeah, so that's what I've been up to.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Thank you all for sharing that. I found this little ditty. So this is opening night of this show, June 13th. And so this was during, and I guess we brought up, we had 3 spellers. It looks like 3 or 4 spellers actually, Taryn and Silver and Leslie, Ben Silver, and this, I'm not sure who that is. But I guess we had 4 that every, on our website, you can actually find the photos of all the different
Oh, really?
Which is really awesome.
Oh, cool.
Cool.
You
have all of them?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, all of the shows. So what do you guys remember? What do you remember about this experience? What are little things that pop up in your memory? What are just starting off, like one thing I remember very, very clearly is I went out to like Ginza for the first time at sushi, with some of you guys, and I remember it was really just because I don't usually go out with casts ever, and so I remember that very clearly. But I was like, they were so bonded then. I mean, like, and that's what I remember, you guys going out when you weren't rehearsing and performing, and you were really that tight. So it's one thing I remember that's not even related really to the show, but about you all in general.
So who's going to spill the dirt? Go ahead, raise your hand. Who's going to tell?
I mean, how PG do these memories have to be?
Oh, it's all right. Was that Steven?
Good question.
My hand went up first. Go ahead, Steven.
This is very PG. My favorite thing, I think my favorite memory of the whole summer was we went for a weekend to Scott's family's house in the North Shore. And we went to a sea shanty bar, I don't know what it's called, and we sang with these local rough and tumble fisher people. And they were like, you guys sing something, and we didn't know any sea shanties, and we sang, I think we started with Seasons of Love, and then they just fell in love with us, and we're friends with them on Facebook. Shout out to Rose.
Love you, Rose.
That I'll never forget being out on the beach and going to all those shops and going out to dinner with everyone, and we were so in love. I'll never forget that.
And Rose actually bought a Rose and one or two other people from there drove to West Hartford and bought front row seats to our last week of performances. They came, that was the only connection they had to the theater, but there they were. So that was really cool. Yeah, that was fun.
Crazy.
So fun.
Joel.
I was doing a backup on my computer earlier today, and I was just scrolling through stuff and getting rid of stuff, and there was a spelling bee file, and in it were all the words and the note cards, because I had them printed out so I could read them, and that's what I remember the most about the show, was the creativity that went through every single night trying to figure out what we were going to say about the people we call up. And I remember Emily, you guys would all crowd around and come up with the craziest descriptions of people, and I was in a panic trying to figure out what words to use. Every night I was with that little box going through all my files, and I was so nervous before the show even began. I was like, okay, I've got it, we're ready, we can do this. And it was just, every night was just that you had no idea what was happening. And I was supposed to do it again a year later, and I had to bow out of it. And so a friend of mine that took my place, so he called me in rehearsals, and he's like, how did you do this? We need help. And I was like, all right, this is how you do it. And so I talked them through our scenario of how we would pick the people in the audience, write down their descriptions, figure out the words, there's a formula to the whole thing. And it's a show I've never done anything like it before in my life. And so it was quite an experience, and I loved it.
Yeah.
Kevin.
So I have three very distinct memories. Two of which you might want to edit out of this recording, but the one is, as Joel referenced, I so fondly remember huddling in the VOM with Stephen and Emily.
Yes, yes.
About 25 minutes, before curtain, every show, and the interns would rush the descriptions of the spellers back to us. And we had this very concentrated amount of time to come up with some hilarity that we would give Joel on stage. So that was my first PG memory. The second one has to do with a certain cast member who loved to flash me in the VOM during one of my quick changes.
Ooh.
Well, thankfully in the show I was married to him.
That old thing did.
Oh, no.
My God.
That old farmer's cart. But yeah, I know he would stand there and he'd have the track jacket, and then, well, boop. I never knew what to expect in that bomb. So that happened. And then I loved Sundays, because Sundays on stage were Kegel Sundays during the slow-mo sequence. Yeah, y'all remember that. Yeah, and as long as that slow-mo went on, we were there, and we were exercising on those bleachers.
That's funny.
Oh my god.
So good.
Okay, I have a memory. Well, there's that with my husband, and I remember. Well, I remember being really excited to do Natalie's hair backstage. I would always play with her hair in the dressing room. And I'd be like, babe, can I play with, like, can I, like, braid your hair? Or, like, can I do this? Can I do that? Or we had the straighteners, too, and Hillary, we were, like, all there. I was always in there with you guys, like, straightening or, like, playing people's hair. That was fun. But I remember doing the Bootsy dance with all of you, which was so much
The
fun.
Bootsy dance! That was my memory!
So, see all of you doing that dance, and it's hilarious. And every time it comes back up as a memory on my Facebook, it's just so funny and great to see all of us in there doing that together. It makes me very happy.
The video is still on Facebook, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I just shared it a while ago, but that just to interject that we had so much extra time during tech. When does that happen?
I know,
So we
right?
were doing the Bootsy dance like during tech. It was amazing.
I'll go. I mean, okay, so Kevin, you took mine, the gathering in the VOM to really quickly improvise jokes that range from pretty inappropriate to just like kind of confusing to just a wide variety. And I remember just being like, I remember one night just being like, well, I'm the one that has to go out there and do these things, so like this is harder for me. And just like every night, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And every night, like delivering those lines that we had all written and just staring at Kevin and Steven across the stage and just like praying that there would be laughter. And it was just like the most freeing, in retrospect, just like one of those freeing experiences I've ever had on stage.
Emily.
Yeah, and me and Joel just like sitting next to Joel.
I
and just
never knew
trying
what
to,
you were going to
music.
say because we didn't have time to go over any of it. So it was like crazy voices. And then suddenly she would just say this absurd description of some random woman. I would die. It was
There was
most
a couple
ridiculous
moments, if I can
thing.
interrupt. I remember there were times where Kevin and I would come up with something that was like really questionable, and Emily would be like, I don't think this is gonna work. And we were like, no, do it. And I think he and I both had a little idea that it probably wouldn't work. And Emily would have to say it, and then she'd stare at us, and Kevin and I would just give her like one little eyebrow of like,
Oh God, it was so fun. But like honestly, the whole show, and maybe this just is, it proves that I'm not a very professional person, but like it was always just hard not to laugh. Like everyone was so funny. I loved everyone so much. And I think that really shone through the performances and the production as well. So yeah, I was just always laughing and always just like having an amazingly fun time.
Yeah, and because of the improvisational nature of this show, it was just so entertaining every single night. And you all brought so much to the table. We were lucky to have a cast that was so diverse and exciting. Natalie, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, so going off of people breaking and laughing on stage, one of my favorite stories to tell from Spelling Bee was the time that I started doing My Friend the Dictionary. And I had this like perfect girl picked out. She was so cute. I was like, because I could always tell like, okay, he's not going to play with me. He looks like he's not into, you know, like, okay, she's going to be game. So I pegged her. And I was like, this is the one. And I went to do it. And as soon as I asked her, for people who maybe haven't seen the show, I asked somebody to move from their seat.
Oh God, I remember.
Literally bring them down.
I know, as soon as she said it.
To have a new seat because that's where my dad will be sitting. And I ask her, I'm so excited, and she looks excited, but then she turns to her mom who pulls up crutches and doesn't have any time to be like, oh no, it's good, it's fine, I'll keep going, don't worry about it. So I'm still singing and I'm trying to like,
oh no.
Just to be like, no, it's fine. But she was so psyched to be part of the show that she got on her crutches and she's hobbling down. And I look back at the bleachers, nobody's singing backup. lost it. The whole audience is laughing, and I think it was like maybe half with me, half at me, and everybody on the bleachers was just like, nobody had me in that moment. Everybody just lost it, laughing. And then I guess at intermission, we like had the stage manager go out and like be like, hey, are you okay? And she was like, no, I loved it. And I'm pretty sure we still follow each other on Instagram.
Oh, how cute.
That was one of my faves. And then my other was that I got to longboard across the stage in Pandemonium.
Oh.
And there was some performance where some woman in the front row had the audacity to just like spread out entirely, and her legs were practically on the stage, and I went flying over them.
Oh.
It went with the song, so I just got up and was like, life is pandemonium. That was a good one too.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yes, Maya.
This isn't like one specific memory, but my abiding sort of like sense memory of doing the show was just how much fun and how terrifying it was to involve the audience as much as we did, because we would have spelling volunteers that would come up, and like sometimes they would be so much fun to play with, and like sometimes it was our family and our friends, and that was like such an amazing thing to like look over, and it was, you know, like a loved one on stage with you, and you know, when do you ever get that opportunity? That was amazing. And then sometimes we'd have people that were legitimately incredible spellers, and we couldn't get them out, and then it would be like this sort of communication, silent communication between all of us. It's like, how do we get them off the stage? Then sometimes we just had insane people who were like, this was their moment to be West Hartford famous, and they just were taking full advantage. And like people, like there was a woman who was just like howling for some reason. I don't.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Like a wolf lady. I don't.
That was so weird. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was I think my favorite part was like when because the best moments on stage are when something goes wrong, and every single show something would go wrong just because of the way that it's built. And then like the way that we all trusted one another so much and just enjoyed one another so much, and like watching one another try to solve those problems in the moment and being like, what do we do about Wolf Lady? Like somebody's just gotta like tackle her and get her off the stage.
Wasn't there didn't we have a party and watch the National Spelling Bee or something?
Yeah.
We were like glued to and someone at one point said, look at us, like no one in this room would ever watch a spelling bee until we've done the show. And so now it's just so funny that we were having such a fun time watching that.
How many of you are actually good spellers? One person?
I think I'm a pretty good speller.
Okay, good. I'll be proofing anything you ever send me from now on.
Perfect.
Do you guys remember who was that little nugget who won the spelling bee and we were so excited?
Oh yeah.
I just remember, I have this memory of this video that somebody took right in the moment where he won, and we were all just like shaking.
I remember watching, I think it was the first night of tech where we were all gathered around a computer screen.
Yeah, maybe that was what
at rehearsal.
Yeah.
And we watched like the very end of the spelling bee, and that was kind of cool.
Cool. Yeah.
So fun.
Memories. Wow.
What else?
Do you remember we were attempting to film the Real Housewives of Putnam County backstage?
Oh yeah, I still have like a ton of very unedited footage from, I like have interviews with all the characters. I mean, it'd be pretty fun to cut it together.
That's right.
I definitely still have all of that. It's weird. It's really weird. There's some inappropriate, there's like a storyline with like Barfee and Rona that's like kind of very inappropriate. Steven, do you remember? Steven?
I sure do.
Okay, great.
Another highlight was Joel and I's friend Tony that we met at Corner Pug.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
He was such a sweet young man.
Does that place still exist? The Corner
Yeah.
Pub? Yeah.
Oh, it's a favorite of mine.
And there was like he was this guy who like, you know, he had guns and like was the furthest thing from, you know, coming to see a theater show, but he liked the two of us and we got he and his girlfriend to come see the show and they loved it. It was so fun to have him there.
Yeah, Tony, good guy.
Guns?
I'm sorry?
Did you say he had guns?
And didn't he talk about how like he had all these guns? I remember one night sitting there and we had a gun discussion or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know. Sorry.
Come see the show, though. Come see the show. You'll love it.
There you go. Converted it from guns to theater. I love it.
There's a part in my.
Wow.
I'm looking for.
Hillary, did you have something?
Yeah, it's more of a sentimental memory. But I remember in rehearsal working on the moment when, spoiler alert, when Schwartzy gets eliminated from the show for the first time, where I did it once and Susan said, okay, great. Now, you know, try and put a little bit more, I don't know what exactly you said, but whatever it is got me to really think about how if it was my own personal dad that I felt I had truly disappointed by not winning, and made it through one line of the reprise and then was just weeping, and could not get a word out. And everybody was there, I remember, but everybody sort of like disappeared. I had like tunnel vision just with you, Susan, and you stood up out of the seat and came onto the stage and said, just keep talking. Just keep speaking the words, you know, like, don't worry about singing, just keep going. And I eventually made it through the entire thing. And you let that moment hold for me until we broke. And then I realized, I'm like shaking thinking about it, that everybody was still there. And like slowly people came into view and everybody was sobbing as well. And in that space, I remember, Joel, you commenting after that, but the memory is not necessarily that story. It's the grace and the blessing that all of the cast was towards each other. And that story is just one example of how tender everybody was. Yes, we're all crazy goofballs, which is why we're wonderful in Spelling Bee. But Susan, you always reminded us that this story is so special because it is about outcasts or misfits who all win in some way, and that's what humanity is, that we're all so different, and our differences are what make us so special. And in that moment, my being vulnerable, everybody held that in their hearts, and it was so special. And that's one of my favorite memories of the cast, is just how special everybody treated each other for how different we all are and were.
So true. And we've been so lucky to have Susan work for us at the Playhouse. And I want to piggyback off of what you said about how special she is. But Susan, you mentioned several times at the beginning of your description that you've been out planting seeds. And I think that's just the beautiful metaphor for what you've done at the Playhouse and what you've done for each and every one of these characters, that you have planted beautiful seeds of wisdom with all of them, and to be able to watch them grow on that stage and in their lives and what they're doing right now is just a testament to how wonderful you are. And I know Sean and I are so grateful to have had you work for us at the Playhouse and to have had all of you grace our stage with this beautiful show and with the camaraderie that you all have now and the grace and beauty that you're bringing to this hour and sharing it with people that right now who are all closed in and looking for something to watch and something to relive. And I know Sean and I just want to thank you all incredibly. I'm not trying to cut you off. I know you all have lives, believe it or not. I know you do. But it's just, Susan, you've been a remarkable source for us, and I'm so grateful. I'm so disappointed that it should have been you didn't happen, because it would have been the very first time that you and I would create something together, and it was not meant to be. So I'm hoping down the road somehow we get to do it again, or we do something else.
Yes, we will. We will.
Thank you all so much for being a part of this, being part of the show, 5 years ago, and now coming back here and being so willing. I mean, that was like the easiest ask I've ever had. I was like, hey, you guys want to do this on Wednesday night? You're like, everybody's on. It was lovely.
Yeah, we go on for hours, I think.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you all are staying in touch with each other and supporting.
Smile for a screenshot.
Sure, Steven.
Will everyone smile for a screenshot?
Oh.
I want to get
Of course.
Yay, thanks. No. Wait. Do it again. Okay.
What? Okay, I lost it.
Steven, did I look crazy in that one? I was just joking. I'm ready now.
It froze. So that's
okay. Thank you all so much. Have a great
Thank you.
Stay safe and healthy, and thank you so much.
Yes,
Thank you.
Let you go.
Love you all.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.
Love you all.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.